about to get started with our next session this afternoon, and it's all about getting started and learning how to build, launch, and grow an online store. Running you through this session is Jayne Lee. She is the entrepreneur in residence at Shopify. She leads the Shopify stockroom, works in product marketing, and runs her own YouTube channel as well. Prior to joining Shopify, Jayne worked as a brand manager at General Mills, leading product innovation. She later joined Exact Media, a startup in NYC, focusing on US business development. After experiencing the startup life, she left to launch her own business, Silly Bee Intimates. Silly Bee Intimates is a bold, lighthearted, and cheeky lingerie brand specializing in creating the most reliable underwear for the modern woman. Please welcome Jayne to the stage.
Hi guys, my name is Jayne. I'm gonna make this a little bit informal, I think. I wasn't here for this morning, but I heard that it was pretty formal. I wanna make sure that this is super casual. If any of you guys have any questions while I'm talking, please just ask. Let's make this a conversation versus anything else. Yeah, that was a great intro. I'll actually give you guys a little bit more background around how I actually ended up at Shopify as an entrepreneur in residence. You guys are probably like, what the heck is entrepreneur in residence? I can explain that in a bit. But so, like he said, I was at General Mills, and I kind of was in brand management because I knew that eventually I wanted to start my own business. And brand management, contrary to what people think, it's a lot of overall looking at a business and working with supply chain, finance, owning your own P&L, etc. So I chose that path. I was there for a year, and I was kind of itching to leave, but I knew that I wasn't ready to start my own business yet. And so I was like, okay, you know what, let me join a startup. So I joined a startup in New York City for a year. I was in charge of the US development. The headquarters was actually in Toronto, and they asked me to expand the business to the US. So I went there, and my 25th birthday was coming up. And so I rented out a booth at Tao nightclub. Does anyone know what Tao nightclub is? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I rented a booth. I was like, yeah, I need to look really good. So I bought this backless dress. So a dress without a back, right? And with a backless dress, for all the men in this room, you have to wear something called a sticky bra. So sticky bras are just cups. So bras without the band at the back and the top. So they're cups with skin-friendly adhesive on it, so that essentially you just stick them onto your boobs and they don't slide off, right? You need to wear these things as women because you want that seamless look to yourself. So I was trying to look for this bra everywhere. I finally found one at Victoria's Secret, and it was $90. $90, which was more expensive than my actual dress, right? So I was like, you know what? I want to look good, so I'm just going to buy this. I bought that $90 bra, and I was, it was my birthday, I was dancing, I was also sweating, and that bra kept on falling off. And it was so embarrassing. So many people were taking photos with me, and the whole entire time I was like this. And so I got really frustrated. And so the next day I woke up, and I looked online, and I asked myself, why am I having this problem? This is a $90 bra, why is this happening? And after I did my research online, I realized that there was only one very big player in this niche market of sticky bras. They're called New Bra. So they had been around for 10 years, and the way that they were winning was their B2B strategy was really strong. So they had white labeled their bra and sold it to the Victoria's Secrets, the La Senzas, and the Aeries of the world. But I saw a weakness. Their B2C was very weak. Their brand looked stale, and they didn't have social media presence. So I looked at that and I was like, holy shit, I think I can do a better job in terms of branding, marketing, social media, and also I can make a better product, I think. So I quit my job in New York. I flew to Shenzhen, China. Has anyone been there before, Shenzhen? Yes, you guys know how magical that place is. It's crazy. If you guys get a chance to go and you guys are looking for products to create, go there. They can make anything for you. So I went by myself. So my background is Korean. I had to get a translator with me. I went there and I brought my competitor's bra with me. I walked to all the different manufacturers and I said, hey, I need a bra that's stickier, that's better looking, in different shades of nudes, because not all nudes are the same, right? Can you guys make something for me? So I spent approximately a month in Shenzhen trying to find and create a better product, and also flew to Korea to create beautiful packaging because the bra actually kind of looks like chicken breast, to be honest. So I had to make sure that the packaging was actually like beautiful and something that would go viral. So I spent a month in Asia, came back to Toronto, and then started my Shopify store. So, just like you guys, I'm sure you guys are looking around. There's Squarespace, there's Shopify, there's Magento, there's various other places, but I chose Shopify because it was the easiest for me, and they also have a really good SEO engine within Shopify, and so I knew that that was kind of like a weak spot for me, so I wanted to use Shopify. So anyways, I started the store, and I sent out this bra to approximately 500 influencers. So when I talk about influencers, I'm meaning like, YouTubers, Instagrammers with a lot of following. So it was interesting because a lot of them would actually ask brands to pay them. But in this case, all the girls were like, hell yeah, like give me that product because that's a big pain point for me. So eventually I had around 500 reviews out there in the wild on the web. A lot of YouTube reviews, a lot of Instagrammers saying, damn, this product is good. And so when I launched my website, I saw a huge intake in sales. After approximately 5 months, I hired my first employee. After 2 months after that, I hired my second employee, and it just kept on growing and growing, got a lot of good PR, and then one day, after approximately 1 year of working on Silly Bee Intimates, the CMO at Shopify kind of messaged me and said, hey, why don't you come into the Shopify office and talk about your experience with the platform? I was like, sure. I went in, I talked about it, I love the platform, it was so easy to use, and it was one of the reasons why I could become an entrepreneur so quickly, right? If I didn't have Shopify, I would have had to learn how to code really well, I would have had to do so many other things that I think would have made me kind of become an entrepreneur in 2 years instead of just 2 months. And so after that conversation with the CMO, he was like, hey, why don't you join Shopify? I was like, hell no. Because come on, I worked my ass off to start my own company. Why would I want to join another company again? That just didn't make any sense. But he kind of had a really cool deal with me. He said, come on, just join Shopify and figure out what kind of problems you want to solve here. If you're interested, then stay. If you're not, then leave. A year and a half later, I'm still at Shopify, obviously. Love it there. The people there are amazing. And if you're looking for any place that is closest to being your own entrepreneur, I would say Shopify is the place to work. So been there. I'm the entrepreneur in residence, so I work on the stockroom, which is Shopify's own store. I also vlog the process of starting the store. So if you guys look up YouTube, Shopify, you guys will see my face, and I have a whole series that teaches people how to start stores. I work on product marketing there as well, various other projects, but it's awesome because I was a store owner before I got to Shopify, so I'm so passionate about helping people, work on Shopify and get sales and 10x themselves within months. So that's kind of my story. I ended up selling part of my company literally last month, my bra company. So that was an interesting experience as well, going through that. But before I go into e-commerce 101, does anyone have any questions? No? Okay. I feel like I'm a hunchback. I'm hunching over. Okay. Okay, before I talk, I just want to know more about you guys. So how many people here have a product but not an e-commerce store? Oh, wow, a lot, okay. How many people don't have a product but want to start an e-commerce store and find a product? Hello, yeah. Okay, cool. And then how many people have an e-commerce store and are looking to growth hack it so that they can see triple-digit growth? Okay. Damn, it's split so evenly. I don't know how to focus on. Okay, that's really cool. Okay, so I'm gonna go over everything very in a general sense because everyone's in different stages right now. But for sure, you guys can take my email afterwards. I love helping people out, so make sure you email me afterwards and ask questions as well. Okay, so the first stage is always finding a product. Right? So this is actually, when we do our merchant surveys and we understand more about people who are using Shopify, a lot of them open up stores and don't know what to sell. Like, they know that it's like good business, they want side revenue, side cash, but they don't know what to sell. And to be honest, the 3 types of people that I see selling on Shopify is 1, people like me, people who create their product from scratch and care a lot about the brand. 2, there are people who curate products, and so they pick and choose products with their, they have their own taste, they pick and choose products and they sell other people's products on their store. And 3, a dropshipping business from China using Overload. So these are the 3 big buckets I see. It really depends on what you think will motivate you. For me, I knew that not money, it wasn't the sole thing that motivated me. I wanted to create a brand that I could be very proud of. So I was very, very careful about the product and making sure that the sourcing was great for that, but it's all up to you. So finding a product, there are different ways that you can go about that. So 1, you can actually look at what you want to solve and create a product from scratch. Or 2, a lot of people actually go on to Google Trends and figure out what's trending at that moment. So right now, what's trending is probably like nail polishes in cute different designs. And so when people see that trending, what they'll do is they'll immediately go and start selling that product. There's that. And other ways are just like browsing AliExpress and Alibaba to see what products that, the Asia is creating and rebranding it so that that product is under your brand and reselling that. A big kind of struggle that a lot of people have is validating that idea. So like, you say you have a product and you don't know if it will actually do well. What do you guys think is like a good way to validate your idea? Pardon? Go out and test it? Yeah, that's good. Anyone else have experience validating an idea or search? Surveys, right. Surveys, yeah. So other ways of validating an idea is actually creating a customer base. So what I actually make sure that people do before they actually start their store is create social media accounts, create an Instagram account, Facebook account, and keep on pushing out relevant content that would attract your ideal customer. So say, for instance, that I'm going to be selling cell phone cases with beach designs on them. I'll start an Instagram account or Facebook account or Twitter account, and I will just push out photos of beaches, of girls in bikini, and make sure that I get a following of people that would ideally buy my product. I don't showcase the product yet, but once I have a large enough audience, what I'll do is I'll actually push out the product and say, hey, how many of you guys would actually want this? And you'll be surprised to see how engaged people are if you ask a question on social media. So that's a good way to actually validate your ideas. Now, once you have an idea, you want to obviously go and create the product, depending on whether you want to create it or source it yourself. Does anyone here have experience creating a product from scratch? How did you create your product? Pardon? Yeah, did you make it with your own hands? Oh, okay, cool. That's really cool. Anyone else? Yeah, you over there. Oh, so you make the products yourself. Yeah, that's really cool. Yep.
For me, I created a men's underwear brand from apple fiber. So I basically create all pieces from all the different areas using Canadian materials to produce the underwear. And then so I designed it, but I can add.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. That's kind of how I did it, right? Yeah, so a lot of people are kind of scared to go into Alibaba or find manufacturers, but believe me, it is literally the most easiest thing to do. Just use Alibaba like you would any Google search engine and try to find a manufacturer that is in your industry. So for instance, if you're creating men's underwear, then you would just actually click in men's underwear, and most of the manufacturers that pop up will do customized things. And believe me when I say this, the hard part is like, yes, communication because of the time differences and also language barrier, but they will be willing to do anything for you. My big tip is actually making sure everything is visual. So a lot of suppliers are very visual people, so even if you don't know how to graphic design, do something on PowerPoint and send it to them, and they'll give you a quote very quickly on how to create that product in mass. Because it's great, but that's one way to go about things. If you like the high-touch experience of creating it yourself, and that's a big part of the story and brand of the reason why people purchase from you, I would keep on doing it, to be quite honest with you. When you reach a point when your demand is crazy and you literally cannot make it yourself with your own hands further, that's the point when you want to go and find out a manufacturer to scale your business. So you have your product, and then you want to do research. I mean, this part of the second part, which is research and prep, is really something I don't really care for personally, but so looking at competitors and figuring out how they run their businesses and how they brand theirs might give you an idea on how to position your brand, right? So for me, I knew my competitor, I knew their price points, I knew who they were targeting, so I kind of shot my brand at their weaknesses. Creating a business plan is not as important, especially at the beginning stages of your e-commerce store. I think a lot of the times when you start your e-commerce store, it's all about testing to see what will work and what won't. There's a lot of A/B testing that you can do. So there's a really good tool called Optimally, and what it does, it tries to optimize your website depending on different consumer behaviors. So they'll look at all of the behaviors of your customers and how they go onto your website, what they click on, and they'll give you the best version of your website, which is really cool. The third part is setting up your business. So this is like naming your business, logo, SEO, and actually building your store. So I'll actually show you guys. Oh, okay, cool. That's fine. The cool thing about naming and creating the logo is that we at Shopify know that that's actually a hard thing to do. So we actually have on Shopify, if you go on Name Builder and Logo Builder, shopify.com/namebuilder/logo builder, you'll actually be able to help. Shopify has created tools that will help you build these things for you. So one of the big things that we want to do at Shopify is actually help you guys start earlier on in the e-commerce journey, right? So earlier on meaning when you're creating business cards, when you're creating even a one-page website, we want to help you from the very beginning till you get to your store, because not everyone is ready immediately to start. So there's a lot of tools that you probably don't know of. Just check out Shopify forums and blogs to see all the free tools that you can use to start your e-commerce store. Okay, so for those, okay, so I'm gonna show you guys how you get started on Shopify. So you have your product, you have your business. You're not on the mic anymore. Yeah, I can't get too far. So you have your product, you have your business name, you've done your research, you have your business plan, cool. Not saying that this is the exact process you need to follow. You can do everything in tandem. I'm a strong believer in doing that. There's no 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps to success in e-commerce. Like I said, a lot of it is testing everything out to see what sticks and what doesn't. So here is Shopify.com. You literally press get started, put in your email. Can you guys see that? Yeah. I'm gonna create my password. And I did my research today. What's trending is cat wine. 1. Okay. Don't worry about your store name because you can always change that later. You just need to put in whatever you want. You can even put your name in. You'll be brought to this page where you tell Shopify a little bit about yourself, and this is important because Like Shopify has so much data, right? We have approximately 400,000 people using Shopify. We want to make sure that we get your data so that we customize the store for you to optimize what you want to do. So are you already selling? Nope, I just say I'm playing around. $0. Sorry, I'll do this quickly. Okay, cool, yay, we have created a store. Like that's how easy it is. Now you're on Shopify. So this is what you're gonna get at the beginning. This is your home page, and you can see these tabs here, right? So the first thing you wanna do is actually choose an online store theme. So if you click here and you go to themes, there's something here called a theme store. Oopsies, sorry. So at the theme store, you can actually choose between a ton of free themes, or you can choose between a ton of paid themes. So paid themes are a little bit more sophisticated and for people who have more than one product essentially. And when you choose them, it will automatically download into your store where you can start editing the look and feel of your store. So let's choose the debut theme. And then when you go into the editor of your theme right here, you can see that there's a bunch of blank spaces. Essentially, this is a drag and drop way to build out your website. You don't need to know any coding at all. So for instance, here you can change the actual text overlay by cat wine. Save. And you think that a lot of people actually think that Shopify is very restraining in terms of its actual design and flow of the website, but it's really not. Like, look, for instance, if you want a slideshow to be more at the top of your website, you can change it here. If you want to add collections, another section, you can add another section. There. And you literally just need to drag and drop photos into it in order to make your website. Cool. So there's something called general settings right over here, and all of that is over here. The color, the general color you want to see of your website, typography, social medias. Yep, you can, yeah. Any other questions on how to like design the website on Shopify? Pardon? Oh yeah.
Do you need to have a paying account to design the website?
Nope. So the first 14 days are free, and then afterwards you have to choose a plan. And so the plan ranges honestly from like $25 to like $2K. It really depends. But for me personally, when I was using Shopify with my bra, I was at the lowest level, $20 a month. They also have a 0.02 percentage that they take from every sale, which is actually super cheap because Amazon takes 15%. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. You don't like the difference between the different levels that you can get in terms of packages is just seriously better reporting. So if you don't want to use Google Analytics and you want to use Shopify Analytics, and also just better in terms of what kind of apps you have access to in order to, yeah. Anyone else? Okay.
Does it allow you to have two different currencies that you charge based on?
Yes. Yeah, that's something that every Shopify store has. USD and Canadian is the two ones that are default, but if you want to add other currencies like GBP or whatever, you could download that easily. Yeah, so what will happen is that default, it will go to USD, but then they can toggle down. Yeah, like the customer will have to toggle down. So at the very top, you'll see USD or Canadian or whatever, all the other ones that you have available to them, and they'll have to switch it over. Yeah. If you want it to be like automatic, that's actually something you have to go into the back end or download an app for. A little bit more complicated, but it's doable. Yeah. Yep.
Do you charge in US dollars, or do you build by Shopify US dollar rate or Canadian?
Canadian. Yes. Yep.
I get charged.
That's interesting.
The question here.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah. So the question was like, do you get billed in Canadian or USD? I get billed in Canadian, and then in terms of payments, every customer who purchases something from my site pays in USD.
Would I call Shopify to get all that money back?
I don't know. Let's talk after. Any other questions? Yes, you can do that. Yeah. Like you would actually, if you want to do that, then you actually have to contact the Guru system at Shopify. So we have approximately like 1,000 people that literally spend their days helping people. And when I was running my bra store by myself, I would talk to them online all day, and they were just so helpful. So, yeah, they can do it for you if you have a site that you already have and you want to import it to Shopify. Anyone else? Yeah.
Sorry, can I just reiterate about the mics for these guys asking questions?
Sure, yeah. Okay, so her question was, do you have an example store that you can show? I will show that.
It's all people in the front. If they push the yellow button, they can speak into their own mics.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oopsies. So this example is of a staff account. So obviously at Shopify, what's cool is that if you work at Shopify, you get to start a staff account for free. Everything is for free because they want to really promote entrepreneurship. So here you can see at the very top the total visits that I got from traffic today, the total sales I got from today. This is a really great chart that uploads in real time. Here is the different channels that I use to sell my store. So channels is a really interesting part about Shopify. If you have a store on Shopify, with a click of a button, you can integrate your store into various other channels. So right now we have Facebook, we have Messenger, we have Pinterest, we have Amazon, and there are a lot more coming. So literally it's easy as this. Sales channels, click here, and you can see all the different marketplaces that you can actually just click, yes, I want to be part of this marketplace, and it will push your product into that marketplace. Clearly here, like my online store makes the most out of all my channels, but some people have a really great Amazon sales, and some people have really good sales that they get from their Facebook stores. So yeah. So a really cool part about Shopify is that they give you reporting. So if you click onto the reporting tab, you'll see all of this. So depending on what you want to learn about your store, you can click on it. So if I want to see sales by month, they'll show it to you in a really nice graph format. And then up here, you can actually toggle the time of the amount of data you want to see. A lot of people use Google Analytics, but I think that Shopify is actually becoming really, really sophisticated in their reporting. Analytics is super important if you want to optimize your store and get better conversion rates. So I spend a lot of time in this space. Another thing that you get when you join Shopify is you can see all these people that have abandoned their carts recently. So here, there are people that almost checked out, but they didn't, and that's like huge, right? So obviously what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go email them with a discount code of 10% and say, hey, I noticed that you almost checked out, but I would love for you to actually experience our product, so here's a discount code, and most likely they convert. The rest of your homepage is just data to let you know how you can optimize your website further. So it shows you what my visitors are looking for on my site. So hey, maybe if they're looking for packaging, maybe I should sell packaging if it's a consistent thing that people are looking for on my site. It shows me which products are the most popular in terms of views, and this will help me create banners on top of those product photos so that I can say, hey, get 10% off this product, or maybe put this product as a homepage banner because I know that it's one of the most popular viewed products out there. A cool thing is down here, I get to see also who's spending the most on my site so that later on when my store becomes big, I can actually create a loyalty program so that people will, I can choose people who I can reward and send personalized cards to, which always works. And then all of down here, Shopify does a great job of kind of just giving you tips and tricks on taxes, on legal stuff, and also various other blog posts that you might find useful depending on what you spend the most time on in our admin. So everything, this whole entire homepage is customized to your store. It's a smart homepage, which is awesome, right? Like it gives you information and it gives you recommendations based off of the patterns and behaviors of your customers. So a really cool part about Shopify is something called the App Store. So similar to Apple, the App Store, we actually have an App Store. These are all the apps that I've downloaded onto my store. So when I go and visit the Shopify App Store, it looks like this. And it gives me all these apps that I can integrate into my store. So say that I want to integrate an email app like MailChimp into my store. I can literally look it up and I can get it. And then what it'll do is it'll automatically integrate with your store. So you don't have to do the coding to actually make sure that it's running smoothly. It will automatically just make sure that everything in your store, when it captures an email, goes to your MailChimp account. A lot of people are starting to use a lot of apps. There's some really cool apps called Recently. So Recently actually shows you the most recent people who purchased stuff off of your website, and your customers can see it too. So at the bottom of my website, something will pop up that says, someone just bought something from Muskoka. Next second later, someone has purchased something from Nevada. So what it does is it kind of makes you realize that a lot of people are purchasing from this website. It must be legitimate. So it actually increases your conversion rate. So what I did was I spent a lot of time in this app store trying to figure out what would work and what didn't. I would download a ton of them and then take out some. But it's a really cool place to make your website even more engaging than it is. Finally, I will go into to show you how easy it is to add a product. So, this is what my store looks like right now. It's taking a while. Oh. So if you go into the shop, you'll see like that I have added some swag, etc. Cool. Adding a product is super easy, so I'll just show you. You literally just press add a product. And let's say it's cat wine. Over here, you see over here, it says visibility, is all the different channels that I've attached to my online store. So let's say I don't want it to show on my Facebook. I only want it to push to my Amazon account and my Pinterest account. I do that. I write the description of the thing for cats. I upload a photo right here. Price is right here as well. And then literally just save, and then it pushes onto your actual website. So it's very, very easy. It's a lot of people think it's hard and daunting and get frustrated, but it's really not. Everything is done and made in a way where we've done a lot of research at Shopify to make sure that the UX and UI is super friendly for everyone of all ages, of all different walks of their business. And so, yeah, and also we do have a really great support system. So if you guys want help, there's a guru that's willing to help, like, at any time. Woo! I do not know what happened. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Do you guys have any other questions? Okay. Yes, over there.
I just want you guys to add one more field to your product page. At the very bottom, you have the tariff code.
Yeah.
For going cross-border, you have to add country of origin and province of origin. Otherwise, every time I ship, I have to go through like 100 products and click Canada, Ontario, Canada, Ontario, Canada, Ontario. It's just two fields.
Okay, so her question was, or her ask was, that we add, you know how I showed you guys how to add a product at the bottom to write place of origins, so where the product was made, just because when you ship it, you need to have those inputs in as well, right? Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, totally, I feel you. I mean, I went through the same thing, but I just did it manually myself. So they, like at Shopify, it's interesting because like as an entrepreneur in residence, I'm really close to the product, so I'll be able to give a lot of feedback to the product teams who are innovating the product. So for sure. Yeah, no, totally. We're always trying to save time for our merchants, and so I'm sure it'll save a lot of time if we add small things like that. Sweet. Yep, down there. What was my first business? It was a lingerie brand. So I created sticky bras and I sold that. I recently sold that business. And so, yeah, that was it. I mean, it wasn't a product that was original. It's been around for tens and tens of years, but I just created a brand that was more relevant to today. So it just goes to show you that most of it is up to branding versus product innovation. Yeah. Yeah, so his question was, do you have to create multiple sites, or can you start at Shopify and push it over to different marketplaces? Yeah, so as long as you have a Shopify store, it's literally a click of a button to say integrate to Facebook, integrate to Amazon, and your product will literally be pushed into that marketplace, and you'll have an account with Amazon and Shopify and Facebook, etc. Yeah. Yeah.
With the privacy, because you didn't go into that, if you go and sign up with Shopify, what is the privacy policy in terms of your information? Like, they obviously want to collect your data, but how far do they go into what you are signing up?
All they ask for is your name and your address and your credit card account, and that's it. So, yeah, sorry, her question was just around privacy. So for those who are signing up for a Shopify account, you really don't have to worry. All you need is your name, your credit card, and your address. And that's it. Yep.
I have got two questions.
Okay.
So what do you do to get more traffic? The second question is, how do you manage the posts? Shipping.
Okay, so two questions. One, which is how do you get more traffic? And the second question, which is around shipping?
Yes.
Okay, so how to get more traffic? Yeah, that's a question that everyone has. So there are various ways that you can get traffic. I separate them into three different buckets, right? So one is owned media, one is earned media. So I would honestly start with creating different social media accounts that you can push traffic to. And then after that, there's a bunch of different tactics, but another thing that is great for traffic is obviously PR. So if you can get a lot of backlinks into the internet of your site, then that's the best thing you can do. So that's not only PR of getting people posting about your product or your store, it's about posting in forums that are free. Like a lot of people don't understand this, but there's a lot of free things you can do to get traffic. For instance, use Reddit. Reddit is a forum where a lot of people go onto. They have millions and millions of sessions a day, and people are just browsing the forums. If you can get into a discussion about your product organically there and get other people interested, then you can get a ton of traffic coming. There's also something called Product Hunt, producthunt.com. It actually lets anyone post products that they've created or things that they're interested in. There's things like that. If you have a competitor that is really close to the product that you're selling, there's a really cool site called ahrefs.com, so that's ahrefs.com, and you can actually input any website on the web. So let's say you put shopify.com in there. What Ahrefs will do is it will show you all the different sources of traffic that is leading to shopify.com. So you can do this for your competitors. If you're selling a notebook and you know that it's similar to another notebook, type in that notebook's URL into ahrefs.com, and you can figure out all the different places that they're getting traffic from. What I did was I used a lot of influencer marketing, and so I sent my product out to a lot of influencers, and I really liked YouTube because YouTube stays there forever. So they would review my product, and then I would get continuous traffic from them, even until now. There's a lot of other ways to get traffic. The Shopify blog is a great place to start. There's a lot of guides to getting traffic from there. And always know that it's not always going to cost you a ton of money, because you can put a ton of money into paid, like do Facebook ads and Google ads, but it's going to cost you a lot because it's saturated right now. Being creative about how you can get your website on the internet is, I think, how people are going to start seeing more traffic. Yeah.
You had mentioned something called Optimally.
Yeah.
Can you spell it? Because I was trying to find it.
It's like optimize, optim with Lee, L-Y. Yeah, at the back. Yeah, sure.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, you just mentioned it and .com. Ahrefs, how do you spell that?
A-H-R-E-F-S.
A-H-R-E-F-S.
R-E-F-S.
And how do we reach you if we want to reach you directly? Do we have to email you or can we call you?
Yeah, you can email me. It's jayne.lee@shopify.com. Yeah.
And I'm so happy I didn't blow up when I pressed the yellow button.
You can use the yellow button too.
In your particular experience on launching your product, to what extent did you worry about things like patent infringement to your competition and or trademark and copyright issues to your product?
Yeah, I mean, like in fashion, it's really hard to copyright anything. I think in technology and in hardware, it's way easier. So in fashion, like no one has patents over anything. So I wasn't really that worried, especially because like my brand was growing, but it wasn't like I was growing to the point where like La Senza would have like wanted to, I don't know, take over my business. Although I did have a friend who started selling like NBA phone cases, so different teams on the phone cases, and NBA actually reached out to him and shut him down because his social media account had reached like 50K followers. So you definitely have to be careful, but yeah, in my industry, it doesn't really matter, patents and stuff like that. Yeah.
So with regards to shipping that you set up for this lady in Spence, did you integrate the, so I'm thinking you drop shipped the product?
No.
You shipped it out yourself?
At the beginning, I shipped out the bras myself, and then when it got too much, I actually used a warehouse in Canada. Yeah.
So can you integrate that shipping through Shopify, or do you have to work through the manufacturer and then through Shopify, or how's that work?
Yeah, so for someone like me, my products were made in China and Korea, and then they had to be assembled. So the packaging was from Korea, and the bra was from China. And they came to Canada, and then I put it into a warehouse, and they assembled it together and would package it out and give it out to my customers. So Shopify has apps, and the warehouses have integrations with Shopify, so that, I mean, I had to do the work to get my products from Asia to Canada, but from Canada to everywhere else, there's an integration for that with Shopify. So you're kind of responsible for getting the product, but if you want help with the shipment and automating shipping and tracking to your customers, that's when Shopify can help.
So another question with regards to taxes and shipping to other countries. Is that something you dealt with through Shopify, or how did you deal with that?
Yeah, for me, I dealt with it separately. There's a lot of apps that integrate with your Shopify, so like FreshBooks, different accounting tools, right? So you can actually keep track of everything there. But it's like it lets you integrate it so that it keeps track of all your expenses and how much revenue you're creating, but then you have to go in yourself and do your taxes when it's tax season. Yeah. Yeah. Hi.
I was wondering if the website is automatically mobile. Does it automatically convert to mobile if somebody goes on their mobile phone to browse?
Yeah, that's a good question, and yes, it does. So when you're editing your theme, you can actually view your store in mobile and iPad version and your website version, and you can toggle between them two when you're designing your website. Yeah. Yep, up there. Is there any two places I can recommend in terms of warehouse storage? So specifically in Canada, there's one called Think Logistics. So Think Logistics is based in Vaughan, and they're kind of expensive, to be honest, but they do a really good job with fulfillment and shipping and account management. Whereas you can go to like someone like Billsy. I don't know if anyone from Billsy is here. No, okay. Billsy, which is like super cheap. It's like literally 60% of the cost of Think, but like they're a startup and they're really scrappy on how they do things. So for instance, when my friend and I did a Kickstarter for my other store, we were at Billsy because we wanted to save cost, but then we saw like literally a huge boost in sales and they couldn't keep up with the demand, and so they screwed up a lot of my orders. So at the end of the day, I wish I did pay a little bit more and go with Think Logistics, but it all depends. Like, it depends what stage you are at. There's different fulfillment centers depending on how big your orders are per month. Yep. Yeah. Her question is there any good, like, successful food entrepreneurs out there, and what are their keys to success on Shopify? Yeah, no, there's tons. Like, I think the first category that's the biggest on Shopify is like clothes, and then it's actually food. So many people sell food on Shopify. I don't know much about how they go about selling food at all. I would say that, like, in my experience, though, a lot of their sales come from distribution versus their online stores. Like, their online store is great. It gets a lot of orders, but they always have like a POS system. So Shopify has our own like card readers, right? Kind of like Square. I'm sure you guys have seen that. We have our own version of it, and a lot of them will use that to integrate within their Shopify online store so that all their sales are in one kind of home center, and then have distribution centers that go through this POS system. So, yeah, sorry, I don't know. Yeah. But most of their sales come from like retailers and like their distribution methods versus B2C directly. That's what I've seen so far. Yeah. Yep.
Is there a difference between running an online store, brick-and-mortar business, and just building an e-commerce business, or in terms of marketing?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Is there a difference between having a brick-and-mortar business with online presence and e-commerce business only?
Oh, so his question is there a difference between having a brick-and-mortar store and an online store versus just an online store? Well, sorry. Yeah, like there definitely will be a difference. I mean, let's say you're a small business and you're running in terms of marketing. Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think like the thing is, if you have a brick and mortar store, like in terms of how you do sales, it's probably like very like offline based or like online based. But when you only have an online e-commerce store, you don't have like the expenses or overhead of your offline store, so you can spend more budget on marketing, I would say. Like what I've seen a lot is actually people who start their store online and then get to offline because they have built enough capital and they have built enough presence to warrant that. Right now, what's popular is pop-ups. So people who don't want to spend a ton of money on rent, but will rent out a space for 1 month in New York or 2 weeks in New York and experience that brick and mortar store before they actually invest in it. Yeah, does that answer your question? Okay. I've never done a brick and mortar, so I don't know. But I did work on the Kylie Jenner pop-up. That was interesting. Yep.
So currently using a competitor to Ecommerce, how do you guys differentiate yourselves from them?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I did try so many different online solutions before I came down to Shopify. And I will tell you this, like, Shopify is literally the easiest to use. Like, it's meant for people who have no idea on how to code, don't understand like CSS, HTML, front-end dev, anything like that. It's literally a drag and drop plus integrates kind of system, right? Our biggest growing market is actually women 45 and plus. Like, it's like that's our biggest segment of people using Shopify. It goes like it's easy, right? If you use other things, it's definitely a lot more complicated and a little bit more like you need to have a little bit more sophistication in terms of like how much you know coding, how much you can like do HTML and CSS. But Shopify is super easy, and also I would say that the reporting system of Shopify is way better than anything. Like, for instance, Squarespace doesn't even have reporting, and I think analytics is everything to an e-commerce store. And also, the Guru system is like the big differentiator as well. When I was doing my bra company full time, I had so many questions, and like the service was amazing. And it's harder. It was hard for me to do Squarespace because I would email them and they would email me back a day later, whereas they would like jump on call with you at that moment. So yeah, I think those are the big. Oh, and also Shopify has a really good SEO system. So a lot of you guys probably if you guys are newer to e-commerce stores, don't know how to change the meta tags and change your headers to make sure that you get a lot of good traffic and you rank higher on Google. So what Shopify does is actually give you an input section on every single page so that you can optimize on your meta tags and your headlines. Whereas everything else, you actually have to go in the back end and do it yourself. Okay, one more question. Anyone else? Yep.
Could you talk about your experience working on the Kylie pop-up and how what she does in her huge marketing can translate to small business?
Yeah, she is Kylie Jenner is really cool. It's crazy. It's a really cool case study because she is the epitome of what influencer marketing is today, right? Influencer marketing is crazy. She is popular and she created a lipstick brand, and now it's one of the biggest brands in the world. And it has nothing to do with the lipstick itself. It's not that great. The colors aren't that awesome, but it's just her and her brand power behind it, right? So that goes to show you that at this day and age, people look to influencers when they're trying to find new products to discover. So rather than actually doing Facebook ads and spending literally tens of thousands of dollars on Facebook ads, why don't you just send your products to people who are relevant to your target audience? And that's way more influential to them. So I think that's a big thing. I think the pop-up scene is also really interesting. A lot of people think that everything is about online, but I think that offline shopping is still going to be there in terms of how you shop and omni-channel wise. In retail, I think that's going to be really innovative, but she also showcased that it's not only online, offline marketing and offline presence is super important. Okay, I think that's it. Cool. Well, thank you so much. Hopefully that helps. It's really easy. I promise. Thank you.